Investor Connect podcast program. This is Hall T. Martin. I'm the host of the show, in which we interview angel investors, venture capital, private equity, family offices, and many other investor groups for startups and growth companies. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for joining us. So hello, this is Hall Martin with Investor Connect. Today I'm here with Rufo Guerreschi of Trustless.ai. Rufo, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Hall. It's my pleasure to be with you.
So what were you doing before you started this business?
For 20 years, I've been promoting digital freedoms and democracy through information technology, through various startups and associations that I established.
Well, that's great. And so when did you start Trustless.ai?
Trustless.ai started as a spin-off of a nonprofit organization that I established in 2014 called Trustless Computing Association. And so the association was established to attract European funds, about 4 million, to build a new ultra-secure communication device for all citizens and a new certification body that would certify these unprecedented levels of security. So that's how we got started.
That's great. And so who is the ideal customer for Trustless.ai? Who are you targeting for this solution?
Okay, so since we're building a personal computing device, which is going to be in addition to your laptop, to your phone, you're going to have this standalone personal computing device with a screen, a Bluetooth connection, but it's only 2 millimeter thick. And so it's extremely minimized and it's extremely secure for several reasons that I will tell you about. And being so small, you could carry it at the back of your phone with a case or in a leather wallet that it will give to you with your cash, your cards, and this device. So since this device enables communication between two individuals, the level of privacy and security, which are radically beyond state-of-the-art, the first targets are people that most need this kind of security and privacy. So politically sensitive people, journalists, politicians, candidates, but rich individuals. We are based in Switzerland because there's a lot of private banks and there are high net worth individuals that, of course, value privacy a lot and they can't buy anything really out there just because everything is broken for many reasons.
So what exactly is the problem you're trying to solve here?
Okay, very well. So nowadays, any citizen, ordinary citizens, but even the richest person in the world, they have access to mobile phones are a great public sphere. You can buy everything, you can talk to everybody. It's like a public sphere of communication, and they are pretty good at it. We have a problem with Facebook, the manipulation of election, manipulating the consensus of people. And aside from that, they work good as a public sphere. What we're missing is a private sphere. So there is no way for even the richest and most sensitive people to buy any application or any device that can give you any meaningful way to have a private sphere of communication. Your digital equivalent of your bedroom, digital equivalent of your living room. These devices, now you have to assume just like your bedroom is in the center of a square. And that's not good. That's not good for people. People now basically can be threatened, they can be extorted, they can steal your trade secrets, they can even use that information for your safety. And people are completely scared. In fact, a Gallup poll found that U.S. citizens fear cybercrime twice more than any other crime, be it terrorism, sexual assault, murder, anything. It's the things that scares the most. For rich individuals, UBS made a survey, and they found that among the highest concern for rich individuals is their country politics, because of course it can affect their tax rates. Now, some may be concerned about Elizabeth Warren raising their taxes, but the second concern is cybersecurity, and that's quite concerning because these people have a very large amount of money at their disposal. So it's surprising that they can't buy today something that can give them the level of security that they need. Look at what happened to Jeff Bezos himself. And so there are very specific reasons of why this is not available. So no matter how much money you have, you cannot buy anything that is better than a secure app on an iPhone, except for a few people which are close to powerful governments. But those are exceptions. And so this is the great opportunity. You have Very rich, very powerful people. No matter how much money they have, there's nothing they can buy. And we're solving this problem by creating a device which is extremely simplified, which is verified down to the CPU and fabrication oversight. But then one key factor that also we're solving is the fact that if you reach this level of security, but you don't provide a way for governments to transparently ask and have a in-person access if they need to prevent a crime, they will never let you go to market. This is the reason everything is broken in the first place. Everything is broken because governments need to stop terrorist and grave acts. So one of the major innovations that we have is having found a solution to reconcile personal privacy and public safety and the needs of law enforcement.
So I understand you're using zero proof technology. Can you describe more about how that works?
We're not using zero proof technology. We're using a zero trust approach. So the main reason that makes our device that secure is that number one, every single piece of hardware and software which is critically involved, the whole stacks of the solution, is publicly inspectable in source design. Nobody's doing it. Number two, we ensure with incentives and social organizations that there is an extreme level of actual verification. If something is inspectable, it doesn't mean that it's inspected enough, and it's done so by ethical actors that will give you the vulnerability they will find. Number three, we have some social systems which are trustless. That, for example, on the fabrication, during the fabrication of the chip, we have 5 randomly selected citizens that act as citizen witness that no funny thing happened in certain phase of fabrication. We have another 5 randomly selected citizens and an attorney, which are required to approve for any access to the server room that contains sensitive user data. So basically, this process by which we have a server room that contains sensitive user data, our own sensitive systems, any access to the server room requires this process of a jury of people that will approve. This provides the user an extreme level of security so that their backup and key recovery process is safe. Number two, it protects against insider threat. A guy like Edward Snowden, or a bad guy, will steal information and sell it to somebody, one of your technicians. And number three, this jury of 5 people enables us to entertain voluntarily requests from law enforcement to basically prove their case to this jury and prove their case that they do have a necessity to access information of a specific person with specific limits. And so you have a transparent process to handle that. And all of this is done within current legislation in Switzerland and Europe.
Great. So what's the challenge you face in putting this system together? What are the really hard parts to get right?
Well, one of the greatest challenges we've had and we will have is basically the amount of deceptions that there is in mainstream media on these issues. So public security agencies have had to lie extremely about how secure certain technologies and applications are so that criminals, small and medium criminals, will actually use this technology. So security agencies, unless they overestimate, convince people that the technology is more secure, they will not be able to spy on them when it's needed. And so basically, they've been, for example, the FBI and Apple story in which the FBI pretended not to be able to open this device, and then you have a company from Israel opening it, and then you have a few researchers opening it in a few hours. And so there is a huge amount of deception on this by security agencies and by companies like Apple that want to be perceived as protecting the privacy and so on. So that's one of the main obstacles. There are many playing consumers that would say, okay, why do I need an extra device for this? Can't I just download an app? I read that the FBI wants to make it unlawful because they cannot track it. And so basically, and that makes it difficult to convince people why they need an extra device. But that's one of the reasons that we're going out towards private banks and top enterprises, which of course they understand better and they're not so easily fooled. One thing that I should definitely add is that our product initially is this extra device, but we're already working with at top level with 2 of the top 5 phone manufacturers to embed this in the back of your future phone. So After an initial phase with 10,000 units, we're going out with 1 to 2 million and then more units, where you're going to have a 5 millimeter Android device, latest and greatest flagship phone, with our 2 millimeter device, which is still going to be completely separate, but they're going to be put, they're going to be placed in a single casing so that the user will actually see a 7.5 millimeter Android phone, which happens to have a magic ultra secure screen in the back. So everyone will be able to have radically unprecedented hardware-based security with zero inconvenience. So you basically just flip your phone and you have access to this completely different level of security. So on one side, you'll have your public sphere. On the other side of the phone, you'll have your private sphere. And slowly but surely, you will reach out millions by opening an app store on it. You can have multiple apps, and the utility of this device will become more and more.
So what's the next step for bringing this solution to the marketplace? Where are you with it these days?
Okay, so we are currently fundraising, closing our round of investments that enable us in 18 months to go with our first 10,000 devices. We've worked now 3 years on it. We have lots of work done on the certification body, lots of work done on the prototyping, working with banks and target customers. And so basically, we're now working with some private banks, as I mentioned, smartphone manufacturers. And so we're negotiating with private banks agreements for exclusivity of go-to-market, by which they're purchasing an exclusive go-to-market agreement, so that for the first year, they're going to be the only one being able to sell this among private banks in Switzerland. And we're doing similar agreements in various different countries. And so we will already start reckoning net revenue even before we have a shippable product.
Well, that's great. Well, we're looking forward to seeing next steps with it and have it come out into the marketplace. In the last few minutes that we have here, what else should we cover that we haven't?
I think that, so the device, okay, one aspect, absolutely. Okay, I mentioned the 3 reasons why our device is radically more secure. Now, transparency of all the components, this extreme level of verification of the critical components, and then this social system where you have now the verification of the fabrication, to the citizen witness, and to the citizen jury. But then who says we actually agree that this is the right approach? But then what guarantees you that I wasn't blackmailed last week because I cheated on my wife? So at the end of the day, 100% of why we're that secure is because we will be certified by this new certification body called Trustless Computing Certification Body that we've been building for 4 years now with events all around the world, big partners, including 2 nation states, that will certify not only this level of security, but also go and certify the resiliency of these means to allow lawful access. So at the end of the day, 100% of why we are that secure is because we are the first IT device and service which is certified by this trustworthy certification body.
Well, that's great. How best for listeners to get back in touch with you to learn more about it?
Yeah, please check our site, www.Trustless.ai. And there's a 2-minute video, and please drop us an email and we'll share with you some more information. And you can get on board now this investment opportunities for private banks, enterprises, and even strategic partners for mobile phone makers.
Well, we'll include that in the show notes, and looking forward to having you back for a follow-up to see how it's progressing. And want to thank you for your time.
Thanks, Martin. Thanks to you. I hope that I was clear enough. Even though cybersecurity is not easy, hopefully your audience were able to understand what we're doing. And if we didn't, reach out to us and we'll tell you more.
Very good. Investor Connect helps investors interested in startup funding. In this podcast series, experienced investors share their experience and advice. You can learn more at investorconnect.org. Paul T. Martin is the director of Investor Connect, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the education of investors for early-stage funding. All opinions expressed by Hall and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of Investor Connect. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions.